This is the Sony TC-800B reel-to-reel tape recorder. This is a very special reel-to-reel tape recorder and is packed with many nice features. This tape recorder contains 4 speeds of 15/16 inches per second, of which it is running right now, playing back this music that it recorded, as well as 1 7/8 inches per second, 3 3/4 inches per second, and 7 1/2 inches per second. It also boasts a tape counter as well as automatic and manual level control. There are 2 types of automatic level control in this machine, speech mode and music mode, which will be described in more detail later. This recorder also boasts a built-in condenser microphone, as well as the, of course, common ability to run on an external mic. This machine also has a pitch control, where you can actually fine-tune the motor speed. This machine runs on 8 D-sized cells. It has a nice large VU meter for easy level setting. The only downside on this recorder is the fact that they did not include a mechanical pause feature. I think that would have been a good feature for them to have also included. On the side, you can see it has your mic, remote, auxiliary input, and then monitor output. Then you have your speaker monitor off, 1, 2, or 3. The 1 and the 2 are 2 different volume levels for the built-in speaker to play out the sound coming through the amplifier during record mode. This machine's cosmetic shape unfortunately isn't the greatest and has suffered some damage. As you can see here, one of the original 4 feet had been broken off. The original foot has gone missing. So I got a little rubber standoff here and hot glued it in place with an industrial grade hot glue gun. Holds it on there nice and strong. Issues are some scratches on the plate here. But obviously that has no bearing on the actual operation of the recorder. As far as restoration is concerned, this machine is working on original parts, except it had seized mechanisms. The rewind and fast forward buttons literally would not push down. They were completely frozen. The mechanisms that would move inside for rewind and fast forwards, grease had dried up so much that it wouldn't want to move. I had to apply a lot of force onto the mechanism itself up in here, thankfully not on the buttons, and managed to free it up, and then I put some graphite lubricant that you spray from a bottle made for lubricating locks into the mechanism, and it freed up nicely. Also, the record play switch metal lever inside was bent down, causing it to be stuck in the record position, even when the recorder was supposed to be in play. Bending that back freed up the record play switch's lever to operate properly. Now we will go to playing back music at 1 7/8 inches per second. All the original belts are still good on this recorder, and rewind and fast forward work quite brilliantly. And it's extremely fast. recorder also has historical significance in its use in the Watergate scandal. President Richard Nixon almost was impeached because I believe he made secret recordings on tape, basically spying or something like that. I haven't read up on it in a while, to be honest with you. But there was like 18 and a half minutes of blanked out recordings, so apparently he wanted something hidden. He wanted something not to get found out. But Richard Nixon used a Sony TC-800B to make recordings. Long recordings. I think he had wiretaps or bugs or something and ran the machine at 15/16 inches per second for the long recording time. Now we'll be playing music at 3 3/4 inches per second. This recorder has very good sound quality, though one must be careful when making voice recordings at the faster speeds. The treble is so strong that it tends to overdo the S's when you speak up close to the microphone. Next, we will be running the recorder at 7.5 inches per second. Okay. Next, we will show making some recordings on the Sony TC-800B. You may have noticed in that past musical recording the distortion of the treble. The treble is pre-emphasized so much with the equalization in 7/1/2 that it comes out a bit distorted. Perhaps some adjustments would need to be done. But I want to do some recordings at all 4 speeds with both the built-in mic and the external microphone. Now most recorders, of course, if you plug in an external mic, it will automatically disconnect the built-in mic. But on this recorder, you can switch between the internal mic or the external mic or both microphones together at the same time. So first we're going to be making recordings with the built-in microphone using automatic level control in speech mode. The machine is now in record mode. Now there's supposed to be a light behind that VU meter, but it is burned out or is not making a good enough connection because it is not lit. But you can see the meter fluctuating very nicely. Anyway, I'm going to stop the camera and continue making recordings. Look how fast this thing rewinds, and look how fast that tape counter whizzes by. That is just flaming amazing. The machine is now in record mode. Now there's supposed to be a light behind that VU meter, but it is burned out or is not making a good enough connection because it is not lit. But you can see the meter fluctuating very nicely. Anyway, I'm going to stop the camera and continue making recordings. So anyway, this recorder is very sensitive using the built-in microphone, and the machine itself runs very quietly. The motor is very quiet, and also I would like to mention the motor is direct drive, or the capstan is direct drive. No belt between the motor and a flywheel. Of course, there are belts for the rewind and fast forward and the tape counter and the take up reel, but not for the actual, not for the actual capstan flywheel. It's very nice using a direct drive system. One thing I really like about the low noise and low mechanical noise of the recorder with the built-in microphone is that it's great for recording a conference where you have several people talking about something. Imagine a group of people gathered around a table having a discussion about something in which you want to record their voices. say they're going to be having really long discussions, you could run it at 15/16 inches per second. The quality is still good enough at this speed to have have surprisingly clear sound for this speed. Sure, it's muffled, but it's not as bad as some other recorders I've heard that run at 15/16. Obviously, the equalization for each speed is changed whenever you set it to the different speeds. The frequency response at 15/16 inches per second goes all the way up to 4 kilohertz. Now, and mind you, that's just a little bit higher in frequency response than the highest frequency response of your typical telephone. I think telephones only go up to 3.3 or some odd kilohertz. And if you were to have a 8 kilohertz sample rate PCM digital recording, you'd only go up to 4 kilohertz. So basically expect the 15/16 inches per second speed to have the same kind of sound quality you'd basically get from an 8 kilohertz sample rate PCM digital audio recording. Although, of course, this is analog. Now, go to 1 7/8. No, we're back at 15/16. I'm going to go ahead and do the external microphone real quick, then we'll change the speed. I'm now using the external microphone in this recording at 15/16 inches per second. I'm using a Sony F27S dynamic mic, which contains a switch to turn the motor on and off. It has a nice sudden start and stop with the remote switch. Absolutely gorgeous to watch. Now, set the speed to 1 7/8. We're now running the unit at 1 7/8 inches per second. You may be surprised by how good it sounds at 1 7/8 inches per second. Now, also another thing I want to mention is that the frequency response at this speed goes up to 7 kilohertz, which for a reel-to-reel at 1 7/8 is pretty good. Most portable reel-to-reels at 1 7/8 inches per second don't sound very good at this speed. Now switch the speed to 3, and not to mention the 3/4 added to that, inches per second. Again, I just want to apologize that the air conditioner is on in the background. I'm not sure if that's really being picked up or not, but we're running the machine at 3 3/4 inches per second now. For the metric aficionados, this is 9.5 centimeters per second. Personally, I do prefer metric, but living in the United States, I grew up getting used to the imperial system. Even though I think metric is a far superior measurement system, being based on 10. Anyway, oh no! No! I forgot to use a built-in microphone for 1 7/8. Oh man! Okay, backtrack, go back to 1 7/8. We're running at 1 7/8. Now go. Now we're at the built-in microphone. We're using the built-in microphone at 1 7/8 inches per second, okay? Picking up at, a little bit more than arm's length distance away from the built-in mic. 1 7/8. Now go to 3 3/4. Now we're running the recorder at 3 3/4 inches per second using the built-in microphone to pick up audio. Can you believe that? My gosh, and my camera's screaming at me because I'm not giving it the care that it wants. Okay? Now, we're going to do two things. First, we're going to switch back to the external mic, and second, we're going to go to 7 1/2. Whoa, no, we won't yet. Don't do that yet. The frequency response at 3 3/4 goes all the way to 13 kilohertz. Okay? Now you can do those things. Now, we're running the recorder at 7 1/2 inches per second. And we're using an external microphone to make this recording.
Of course, if I speak up close to the mic, you get that extreme sounding S. If I speak a bit more of a distance away from the mic, the S shouldn't be as extreme, but it might still be distorting a little bit. I mean, this is AC bias, don't get me wrong. AC or H2, it's just a matter of probably some calibration of some settings. But anyway, there are a bunch of trimmers inside the recorders, though I think a lot of the trimmers were for the servo circuitry. We're now using the built-in microphone at 7.5 inches per second. This is a built-in microphone. Today's date is the 17th of July of the year 2019, Anno Domini. I hope you're enjoying this recording. I can speak up closer to the built-in microphone. Okay, anyway, now, the frequency response at this speed, that is a speed of 19 centimeters per second, is all the way, the lower frequency this records, I think, is 50 hertz. The lowest frequency it records. I think at this speed, and at the slowest speed, the lowest is 80 hertz. But the service manual picture online was not the highest resolution. I was able to make out for sure all the higher frequencies that it records. The highest frequency it goes to at 7.5 inches per second is 18 kilohertz. Now that is only 2 kilohertz shy of the highest frequency that a human being can hear. So that's pretty impressive, if you ask me. All the way to 18 kilohertz. It's a pretty good tape recorder, aside from it does kind of distort in the highs a little bit because they're so, extreme, but that might just, again, be a calibration issue. Another nice thing is the battery check button that you can even press and record or play to find out the condition of your, 8 UM1 size cells, to use the Japanese convention as opposed to D cells. It's UM1. Anyway, hope you enjoyed these recordings. Soon we will be playing for your listening pleasure voice recordings of Futurama's Richard Nixon, and now we're using both the external mic and the internal mic at the same time, so stay tuned to hear not the real Richard Nixon, but Futurama's Richard Nixon's head in a jar, for any Futurama fans out there. Good news, everyone! Oh, quick, before I go, I want to put the ALC mode into music mode while I'm speaking up close to see if the level is lowered enough that the S is less distorted. It's just an experiment. Indeed, the S is less distorted in music mode because it makes the level a little bit lower than it does in speech mode. And actually, in a lot of those recordings, the S's weren't so bad. Yesterday, I tried making a take 1 of this video, and I was using an external condenser microphone, speaking with my mouth right into it, and the S's were distorting so much that it was really a problem. I also found that when I played the music recording back, and I turned the tone control down, the treble distortion wasn't nearly as bad, though you could still tell the treble was coming through, so I think part of that S distortion might even be on playback, not just a recording issue. If I can find that musical selection, I'll see if I can play some of that back. Oh, please. Notice the treble's not so distorted now that the tone's down, but you can still hear the treble. Turn the treble up though, and so I think a lot of the extreme distortion of the treble there is not mainly an issue of recording as it is as when you're playing it back and the tone control is all the way up. The treble signal is so strong that I'm guessing it clips the amplifier or distorts somewhere in the amplifier. So I guess if you're playing 7.5s back and the treble is a bit intense, just turn that tone control down to decrease the intensity, but it still seems like it recorded the treble originally fairly well.
Gotta love Russian music.
Now that I've teamed up with my friend, Dr. Wernstrom, I feel certain we can successfully penetrate the other universe.
It's the greatest scientific opportunity since you yourself sent men to the moon in 1969.
I always regretted that. Nothing up there but dry rocks and those revolting onion men. Ooh, but you East Coast intellectuals had your chance. Now beat it! From here on in, this is a military matter. People of the universe, please welcome Rear Brigadier Zap Brannigan.
Thank you. Thank you. Well deserved. Kid, stand in that hole so I look taller. Ever since man first left his cave and met a stranger with a different language and a new way of looking at things, the human race has had a dream. To kill him so we don't have to learn his language or his new way of looking at things.
Give science a chance!
Less invasions, more equations. Damn long hairs. Knock some sense into them, Chief O'Hallahan.
Yes, sir.
I can't take it, Leela. I need to go away. Far away. Forever.
Ah, I know how you feel, Fry. There are times when I also feel like you need to go away.
All that aside, this recorder is extremely nice because it's packed with very nice features. The automatic and manual level control, you know, the built-in mic, and of course, not only 4 speeds, which is phenomenal. I wish more recorders had 15/16s, but also the pitch control. And one thing I really like about the pitch control is it should be helpful for playing back in higher quality, a higher quality playback of recordings made on rim drive tape recorders where the speed changes throughout the reel. It has a unique kind of sound quality, an interesting old-timey, like archival sounding, loggy, you know, sounds like an old log, archival type, just sound quality. It's very interesting to hear.
Anyway, the interesting thing to notice. Watch the function of the meter. This is speech mode ALC. Now, of course, this is one of those long videos, long descriptions. It's probably going to be at least 40 minutes long or so. It's one of those videos that probably not everyone's going to sit and watch the entire thing because it's going to bore them to death. But anyway, so in speech mode, okay, let's do something else in hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. What I'm doing is I'm waiting a few seconds and then I'm beginning to say hello, hello, hello. The level kind of goes up into the red zone just for a second and then kind of goes to the middle. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. As you can see, the level has been resetting every time I waited a few seconds. Hello, hello, hello. 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 The longer I wait, the more the level is increased. I believe it uses a resistor capacitor RC network to get timing for the ALC. When I put it into music mode, there's a difference in operation. To reset it, I go into speech mode and back. Watch. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. The level got set down to this portion. I'm going to give it a few seconds. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to reset it now and say hello again. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. You see, initially after I reset it, the level was a higher level. but after I said something, the level remained at a lower level without returning until I reset the music mode. So the music mode is a very interesting form of ALC, which is basically where you can actually, in a sense, quote unquote, manually set it by using an automatic setting. It sounds weird, where it will stay at the level once it's set itself. The only other recorder I've seen, at least in my collection, that does that is the Sony TC-55, which also has a music and speech setting switchable for its ALC. It only has ALC, but you can set it into music mode, and it does the same thing, where once it's set to a level, it will not return to a higher level until you've reset the mode.
I hope you enjoyed this crappily done video of the Sony TC-800B, presented by Cassette Master.